It's the Slam Dunk.
So Adrian Orr's cut the OCR when just a few months ago he told us, no, wouldn't be happening, wouldn't be cut until well into next year. It is such a radical departure on his view from May, just a few months ago. That inflation was still high and there was still too much heat in the economy. Turns out now there's bugger all heat in the economy. We could have told him that, and we did. Inflation is fast falling and the economy is so much weaker than he thought. Unemployment alone is expected to be higher than he ever considered. But hang on, where on earth has he been? Who's he listening to? Who's he relying on to give him his data? It means he's unnecessarily kept interest rates far too high, and he's been needlessly choking us and the businesses around us right around the country. The casualties are lining up and have been all winter. And where's the accountability of getting it so wrong? There's no such thing, folks. Folks, this shit matters. Because people have gone to the wall, and I've been loud and clear in my view for months that in the real world, at street level, the pain's been real, the struggle is real. And I don't think Orr and his bunch of advisors saw it. How did they miss it? How did they miss this? They paid handsomely to do it. This is what we pay them for. So handsomely to see. But they missed the pain, and how did they not see what I was seeing every day? They engineered a deep recession in New Zealand where they needed to back off much earlier. I first raised this on this podcast a month ago when, after interviewing a bunch of New Zealand CEOs, they all said to me Orr was out of touch with the real economy. And one in particular said to me, and it really stood out, he said to me that he thought Orr was relying on data that was old and not as up to date as it should be. And so that's proven to be the case. Economists like Brad Olson, who's a regular on this program, have been brutal in their view of Orr. Totally brutal. He says it's a complete U-turn from the Reserve Bank and interest rates will now likely be at about 3.5% at the end of next year. Olson says the Reserve Bank has probably made the right call and starting to cut the OCR, but in doing so it implies that its view of the economy was hopelessly wrong. Flip-flopping from a raise and no interest rate cuts until August 25 to then suddenly cutting in August 24 raises massive questions about the bank's reading of the economy and its forecast, and frankly makes it hard to trust its judgment, says Olson. Olson says it was clearly wrong about the economy back then in May, but the yo-yoing in views now means that no one can be quite sure what's next. And the lack of accountability is galling, he says. He says he's now no longer sure what to believe from the Reserve Bank, and he's lost trust in what they say because it might not be what they do. It's a brutal blow, isn't it, from Olson? He's effectively said they're a bunch of flakes whose credibility is shot. Now, if they're in charge of an under-9 soccer team, then it may not entirely matter. But they run the economy, and they're in charge of the crucial settings here that affect all of us, and they remain on their jobs. And we have no ability to turf them out. It's an epic fail on something so fundamentally important. Orr should have at least offered his resignation yesterday, and I think it would have been accepted as well.
Duncan Garner, live.